Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie, for those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind France, Season 1, Episodes 8 and 9. Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. We pick up where we left off with Tatiana telling the ladies she's not going to try on dresses. She feels like the only time she's ever going to fully commit to a marriage again is if she's completely sure, and trying dresses when she knows that her relationship is on the rocks is just something she's not going to do. She does not want to get divorced again, right? So she says that there are so many issues with Yanik, and it's not that I don't agree. I do think that there are some things that Yanik could take stock about himself, but Tatiana overlooks a lot of her bad behavior. I've been saying throughout the whole season, she thinks it's the fact that she's older, divorced, and has a child. No, girl. It's more than that, and you need to be introspective to realize that. So Yanik is talking to, was that his brother or his friend? I don't know. He's talking to somebody. And basically he's like, there's still love there, so I want to work on it, or at least I wanted to work on it. But honestly, we do fight a lot, and I don't know if it's going to be worth it. He does say that the real reason why he didn't sign the prenup was because he was waiting outside for Tatiana, who did not show up for 2 hours. And so at that point, he decided to leave. They did speak on the phone, and she was being disrespectful to him. That's what he believes. She believes he was being disrespectful to her. And then she hung up on him, and he did not appreciate that. So he was like, you know what? Even if she ended up showing up or whatever, I think eventually I would have just decided that this relationship is worth fighting for. But because she was disrespectful and she hung up on me, that's like my final straw. They don't agree on respect. Like, they both feel like they talk to each other sideways. They both believe that they are being disrespected by the other. So they end up having a conversation where, she's giving him the business, child. She's giving it to him. And it seems like he wanted to work on things still. She says that he has a very idealistic way of thinking, and that he doesn't like focus on what's really going on, and she believes he's the cause for all of their issues in their relationship. I think that she thinks the same way too, though. She has a very idealistic view on what relationships look like, because even in the freaking pods, which I know people think that the pods is the boring part, but the pods set a foundation on what we're going to experience with this couple. Even in the pods, there were a lot of things that she would gloss over, and I felt like, to me, they were just getting together because they had something to prove, not because they were actually compatible. You know what I'm saying? And we have to remember, this girl was in competition with a lot of people. When she lost Thomas to Kim, I'm sure she was like, I'm not gonna lose again. She says that too many things were going wrong too early in the relationship, and I agree. If things are this hard this early, I don't have an incentive to stay. Somebody needs to tell, what's her name, that the tall girl, Cynthia, because she believes you fight no matter what. Not this early. Surely not. The fact that Tatiana ghosted him for 2 days when this man was checking up on her, like, that's a problem. I think, can I say it's a problem? If she was already checked out, then fine. No, actually, no. Because even ghosting itself is a problem when you have an established relationship with somebody. Communicate. You're a big woman. You're almost 40. And she keeps talking about, how am I going to let a 35-year-old man tell me what? You're 39, and you were going to let your mom dictate your life, number one. And number two, when it comes time for you to speak up and communicate your feelings, you don't want to do that either. So, like, let's not come at Yanik for being 35, because you're 39 and y'all in the same boat. Moving on. Some of the girls are having baby fever. Kim and Julie are so eager to have children in the future. At first I was thinking, this is a good sign, because it makes it seem like they're comfortable enough with their partner to even start to envision that part of their life together. Julie, I believe, more than Kim. And she's really come around when it comes to the attraction thing. She has been consistent saying that she loves him. She loves him down. That attraction was just the last little bit that she needed, but she never questioned her love for him. Kim, however, she's so excited to meet Charlie, Thomas's daughter, and whatever. I was just like, Kim, come on. Anyways, Thomas says that he doesn't want to introduce his daughter to Kim until they are married. He feels like that is very irresponsible, which I do agree with. But you have to look within and think, if I am so worried about this person leaving, maybe there's something deeper that's going on. They have a lot more issues than whatever they're trying to present on the surface. So yeah, I think on both sides, it would be a bad decision to want to continue with this relationship. Chloe and Alex spend some time apart because he wants some space to think about some things. You know, the process is just moving so fast because how dare I come into a process where you're supposed to fall in love and get married to somebody in a matter of weeks? Like, oh my gosh, that's just so crazy. Like, anyways, he talks to his brother who, are they twins? Oh my gosh, they look so alike. And the brother is basically saying, you have a good thing, let's not self-sabotage, you know? With Alex, I don't think it's fair for him to handle things how he's been handling them, because it seems like Chloe has really been trying to show up for him to kind of get a gauge on where he's at, and he just ices her out and doesn't want to explain why. And to me, that's not fair at all, right? So Chloe is talking to Charles and Julie, and they're telling her, you know what, if you feel like the relationship is worth fighting for, then you should fight. We know that Alex has strong feelings for you, so definitely don't just throw it all away, right? So she says she's gonna fight. They also advise her not to get lost in the fight, though, because I think a lot of people too, you get so desperate to want to keep that person in your life that you end up losing yourself for the sake of saying you are in a relationship or that you're married. God forbid, right? Charles, I always want to call them Charlie and Julia. I don't know why. But Charles and Julie are having their own issues with cleanliness. He feels like she does not know how to keep a neat apartment. She feels like she's been doing great around the house. She even picks up after him, but he's like, no, I do a lot of the heavy lifting here. Listen, sometimes people be a little bit messy, okay? I already know my boyfriend knows his role, okay? Sometimes the clothes be scattered. It is what it is. He took it upon himself to clean them up whenever he was around. But if she really is doing stuff, I think the best plan of action would be to commend her for what she has done, and then maybe talk about how you could share the responsibilities a little bit more. She is home a lot of the time, so I think that's more so where Charles's mind is at. Like, if you are home all the time, the place should be clean all the time. But sometimes, it escapes you. It doesn't look like she's a slob. I think if she was a slob, he would have left. So maybe it's just a communication thing. They just have to sort that out. He is scared because he feels like they haven't spent enough time doing domestic things for him to be sure that they'd be able to cohabitate peacefully. She feels like he has seen enough. You've seen enough to make a decision. So they later have dinner and things get a little bit heated. They both feel like they're talking disrespectfully to one another. And he does acknowledge that she gets combative whenever she feels like her back is against the wall, which is something that they're going to have to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. Julie to me has a lot of open wounds, and I feel like she's bleeding on Charles. She says that she has abandonment issues and she does need that reassurance, and he's like, well, I do love you right now. The right now would have sent me over the bridge. What do you mean? What do you mean right now? But anyways, it worked for her. She thinks that fights are necessary in relationships. I need people to let go of that propaganda. Now, conflict and conflict resolution is important, but that going back and forth, barking at each other, they weren't even doing it that bad. I just think in general, when people say like fighting is important, you could disagree and still be respectful. You can disagree and still find a resolution without going to blows. Like, I personally don't feel it has to be like that. Conflict is good because it helps you with conflict resolution, but fighting and arguing and all that, Vanmi is getting ready to go to a birthday party, and Sabrina is in her feelings because she wanted an invite, but instead of just expressing that she wanted an invite, she's going to keep asking him questions. Where are you going to be at? What's the time? Who's going to be there? What are you going to do afterwards? Are you going to come see me? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Baby girl, you're doing a lot. So yeah, she's kind of in her feelings. She is, however, deciding to let him go and not badger him because she believes, although she is possessive, she is able to give him the freedom to live his own life, right? She then is seen talking to the camera saying, well, what if what if somebody's trying to come onto him? And so I'm thinking, Sabrina. Sometimes, like, you do have, you know, the little feelings of jealousy, like, ugh, what if somebody's gonna try to talk to my person? But the way that she's going about it is going to deter him from this relationship if she keeps going on like this. It seems like things went well because he ended up going to meet the family and her friend, I think it was. I'm not quite sure who the other lady was. And it went really well. Like, the dad feels like he's a stand-up guy. He feels like Vanmi is so genuine, and he hopes that he takes care of his daughter. Honestly, it seems like right now your daughter might be the reason why things don't work out well in their relationship. So yeah, I also do agree that Vanmi, he's been a stand-up guy. From what we've seen, we really don't see much of them, but of what we've seen, I have more questions about Sabrina than I do about Vanmi. So yeah, if he's able to deal with that whole micromanaging thing, because I don't think that is something that's going to change overnight, then I think they'll be fine. They later go to dinner where they both profess their love for each other. I think this is the first time that they're saying they love each other. Yeah, great. Sabrina, go talk to the lady. That's all I gotta say. I think there's potential if she sorts that possessiveness out, especially because, as we no, Vanmi hasn't given her a reason to be so insecure about their relationship. This is stemming from things from the past. Alexander returns and he says to Chloe that he's given up on a lot of his dreams in his past relationship, and now he wants to make sure that those dreams come to fruition, which means that he might have to be moving around. So yeah, this relationship moving so fast and him having to make commitments so quickly is possibly ruining the plans that he had for himself. Here goes Chloe being very accommodating. She's like, listen, I'm in a place where I can move around. My career is definitely flexible. I am flexible. Don't think that, you know, you're now stuck in a rut just because you're with me. This man is shocked. He's like, oh, she actually listened to me? And she was so accommodating to my request? I feel like we still have more issues going on in our relationship. I said, come on, Alex. If you don't like this girl, just say that. That's what it was given to me. Because the big issue that you had, she gave you a solution that you agreed with, but you're still saying there's more wrong with the relationship. What? What more could be wrong? It's giving, if you don't like her, just say that. She is so accommodating to the point where she has a fear of heights, but she planned a rock climbing date for him to give him that little taste of the things that he loves so much. And she engaged in rock climbing herself. Like, the girl is trying so hard to make it work. If you do not love her, if you do not like her, cut her loose. We're gonna skip over to the weddings. Not much happened at the Bachelor, Bachelorette. The only thing was that Chloe's like some kind of go-go dancer or something. I said, oh, well, hey girl. Their wedding is first. And, you know, although she was very confident the night before, at the wedding, she's now like concerned whether or not he is going to commit, right? Up until this point, he hasn't said that he loves her. And she feels like it's kind of weird to want to walk down the aisle to a man who hasn't been able to tell you that he loves you, right? So this man is wrestling with his feelings. You know, people in his camp are telling him, just stay true to your feelings. If you're not there, you're not there. It's okay. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he's about to say no. Even at the altar, he's wrestling with his feelings. And I'm thinking, Alex, please.
Oui, je le veux.
Par le mariage.
To my surprise, the man said, I do. That was an absolute shock to me. He said he had an epiphany at one point that proved to him that he did love her. And although that's great and all, I don't like how he kept Chloe on the line like that. You know, she would literally try to break through to him, try to get some understanding on where he's at. And he would be so evasive. And to me, that's not fair. Like, yay, you came to the same conclusion as she did, that you do want to get married. But, yeah, not really a fan of that. But she loves him. He loves her. And we'll see if they're still together at the reunion. The next wedding is Thomas and Kim's. And I know some people see their dogs as children. I'm not saying being attached to your dog is odd. Seeing your dog as a literal child of yours, to me, that's interesting, okay? Anyways, that was the beginning of my irritation with Kim. At the altar, this girl starts to get emotional. So you would think that means she's probably, overcome by all this love and these emotions, and she's just so overwhelmed. But no, the girl was ready to give the man a pie, and I'm thinking, what the hell was this? Like, it seems like Thomas was in the right to say that she doesn't want a marriage, she just wants a wedding. Is this all that you wanted? The wedding and not the marriage? Literally nobody was shocked by her decision. Thomas wasn't shocked, her mama wasn't shocked, the crowd wasn't shocked, nobody was shocked. I think Thomas knew that things weren't going to work out. Like I said, if he still was unsure about introducing his child, that is his choice. If he wanted to, that's fine. If he didn't want to, that's fine. But I think something in him was already stirring to make him say, let me see her actually sign the papers before I decide to do this. But yeah, they're done. No surprise. I want to see if she goes and hits up Clement, because the way that she was vibing with him at the pod mixer, it's looking like she had some regrets. Next is Vanmi and Sabrina, who have no business getting married. And thankfully, the man said no at the altar. Based on her response, it sounds like she would have said yes. She loves him and she was ready to be married to him. She thought that was the natural next step in their relationship. It looks like they want to work on things, and I'm thinking, oh, he says that his parents' divorce obviously really affected him, and he just didn't want to jump into something with so much uncertainty so that he too would then be divorced. But I think before committing to continuing their relationship, they need to commit to couples therapy and individual therapy. Truly. Maybe Vanmi has some things to unpack too, but right now Sabrina has these glaring issues that are just gonna keep showing up in their relationship. I think too, people underestimate how much marriage emphasizes the things that are already present. If you got issues before, they gonna keep coming up. Last wedding is Charles and Julie's wedding. She's excited because her dad came from Vietnam. He hasn't really been present in her life, so this is his way of showing up for her, and she really was appreciative of that. At the altar, honestly, I had the most faith in them before episode 8. By episode 8, I was a little bit unsure, but yeah, they said yes. In his vows, he did mention that they did go on a roller coaster. He's like, I've seen the good and I surely have seen the bad. And she says they are two broken people who just want to be loved, who just want to find their person. It's crazy how a lot of these people on this version of Love is Blind specifically are glossing over these big red flags. And I'm thinking, okay, are we trauma bonding here? Like, sure, you're both broken people and you both want to be loved, but that love might be sabotaged because you're getting in your own way. So if you want the best chance for a healthy relationship, we gotta sort some things out. Now you're married, so you can do it in the marriage. But if they had the opportunity to do it before marriage, that would have been the best time. Deep down, especially if she's gonna continue the way that she has been, it's going to grate on Charles so much. Truthfully, nobody wants to be with somebody who you constantly have to reassure over and over and over and over and over and over again, especially if you're married. Like, that is going to get annoying for anybody. Actually, maybe not for anybody. For somebody who has a savior complex, they'd probably love that. But it doesn't seem to me like Charles has a savior complex. He wants an equal, a reciprocal type of love. And if he's constantly giving to her, he might come up short to the point where he has nothing else to give and might want to leave. So I don't know. I had hopes for them. We'll see if they're together by the reunion. I think the reunion is October 5th. But that's it for me. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.